Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a Dragon Ball survival challenge. And in even more particular, if that makes sense, a Tournament of Power survival challenge. If you've never been here before, the basic gist is simple. I take a bunch of different characters from a bunch of different universes, and I chuck them into another universe and see how the story might go differently if these characters were in there. It's super simple, super fun. You're gonna love it, it's gonna be great. Now, normally I would find a survival challenge like this relatively boring, because all it is taking a bunch of characters and having them fight in a fucking arena, snore, you know, there's no like interesting things that can happen in that scenario. The thing that made me want to do this is because it's not just a bunch of dudes like fighting each other. There's actually quite a few interesting rules added into this tournament that makes it more viable for this type of challenge. For instance, there's a rule in the Tournament of Power that says that you can't use any weapons. How's that gonna look like if you throw Doomguy in here, who's known for using guns and swords and shit like that? There's a rule in here that you can't kill people. How's that gonna look like when you throw someone like Spawn in here, who's basically all of his hacks is like deadly fucking shit that's gonna kill people? You also don't have to defeat someone in a fight in order to get them out of the tournament. All you have to do is knock them out of bounds. It doesn't really matter how much stronger a character is that's put in the Tournament of Power than the rest of the characters. If they don't have the skill or visual awareness of their surroundings to not get knocked out of the fucking ring, they can still lose. So hopefully, as we take this journey together exploring this topic, we come across all kinds of different cool little scenarios that our characters will have to deal with. But I've wasted enough of your time. Let's get started. Now, before we get started on the actual challenge, I have to do my obligatory humbling of the Dragon Ball universe. I don't want to do it, but we gotta do it. When you have this big of a fan base of everyone who's just kind of on the same page about a particular power level or a particular information that a universe has, and it's all equally wrong across the board, I have no choice but to touch on it, at least for a bit. I'm not gonna go super in depth because I kind of already did that, so I'll like put a link to a video somewhere in the corner of the video somewhere. It'll be there. Just look at the screen. It'll be there. You can click on that and get a more detailed explanation, but just for like quickies so that we can actually get onto the video, I'll explain a little bit of what I'm talking about. There is a shit ton of misinformation spreading around the Dragon Ball community of things that are just not right. Just straight up, just inaccurate shit. Just unbelievable made up stuff that's just not true. Some of it's due to mistranslations, like people saying that Goku shook an infinite void when it's not an infinite void. The actual Japanese word that was used was like Ino or something, or Ino. It means eternal, not infinite. It's referring to time, not size. We don't actually know the size of the void. We just know that it's eternal and it's been around forever. There's shit like people saying Dragon Ball characters can punch and strike just as hard with just as much power as their ki attacks. This also doesn't make any sense. If Goku's punches were the same strength as the Kamehameha wave, what was the point of using the Kamehameha wave? What is the point of having all of these different crazy ki attacks if they're all of equivalent power? This is a legitimate argument that people use. They say that your ki levels affect all your stats across the board equally. And people have legitimately made arguments to me saying that things like the Kamehameha wave and Goku's punches are of equivalent strength because of that sort of rule that exists within the Dragon Ball universe. But if that was indeed the case, then it wouldn't matter what ki attack Goku used, they would all be of equivalent strength. No ki attack is better than any other ki attack. With the exception of the Spirit Bomb, because he has to get power from other places outside of himself, every single ki attack would be of equivalent strength. But that's clearly not the case. We see weaker ones and we see stronger ones. There are many examples of characters who are far weaker being able to harm and seriously fuck up characters considerably stronger with really powerful ki attacks. Some examples are Vegeta using Big Bang Attack against Cell that nearly fucking killed him when he, before that, couldn't even harm him with his punches. There's stuff like Tien being able to keep Cell down with his blast for a decent amount of time, even causing Cell physical pain, which again, he was not capable to do with his physical attacks. This claim is ridiculous. Throw it out. It doesn't make any sense. Goku is not universal. This is something I keep hearing all the time. Goku and Beerus's fight was so powerful and over the top and crazy, they almost destroyed the universe. Goku's way stronger now. He could definitely do that by himself. No, he can't destroy a universe because Universe 7 is not actually a universe. Not by the definitions that we go by when we talk about this kind of stuff. In order to be a universe, you have to have your own space-time continuum. In order to destroy a universe, you have to destroy a space-time continuum. There is only one space-time continuum in all of Dragon Ball. We see this several times. Earth, Hell, Universe 7, Universe 6 is all a part of the same space. In the Buu Saga, we see Buu flying across the universe and passing over Frieza and Cell while they're in hell. They both look up and just see Boo pass by. How did he get to fucking hell just through flying across the universe? Because you can just fly to fucking hell as long as you're fast enough and can get there before, you die. Whis is shown on the regular traveling between Universe 7 and a bunch of other universes. He goes with Beerus, and Beerus complains about how long it's taking because they are actually traveling there via, distance and speed. If they were alternate universes, it wouldn't be a time issue. You would literally just have to break through a fucking barrier in space and time to get there. It would be fucking instant, basically. If it takes any amount of time and you're traveling across any amount of distance, it means you're in the same space-time continuum. This is also proven in the Future Trunks arc with all the different fucking timeline bullshit. Zamasu becomes some crazy fucking dark, cloud god, and he's about to destroy the universe. So Goku calls upon Zeno to show up and help them. Zeno shows up, but Zeno doesn't know who the fuck Goku is. Why? Because they're in a different timeline, and Zeno has no idea who Goku is in this timeline. Zeno does not live in Universe 7. If Universe 7 had its own space-time continuum, then it doesn't matter what timeline they were in Universe 7, it shouldn't affect any of the other universes or anything outside of Universe 7. But it does. If you alter the timeline Universe 7, it affects all of the other universes. If that wasn't the case, then when Goku traveled to a different timeline and then called Zeno to show up, it would have been the same Zeno that he knows from his timeline. The fact that there's two different Zenos in two different timelines and they are not in Universe 7 means that he exists within the space-time continuum and is affected by changes in that timeline. This means that when Zeno, the most powerful character in the entire Dragon Ball universe, destroyed universes, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? Did he destroy 13? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. When he destroyed all those universes, he actually didn't destroy any universes because none of them had their own space-time continuum. He just destroyed a lot of space and a lot of shit within the greater Dragon Ball universe, which is just one universe. And if you're saying, well, each of these individual pockets of universes, like Universe 7, 8, 9, whatever, are actually way bigger than our normal real-world universe, so they should count as full universes, I would say, who gives a fuck? Get in line. There are several universes of characters we're going to talk about on this list that have universes that are infinite in size, including Spawn and Doom. That means characters in both of those universes can destroy 10 million times the amount of shit that Zeno destroyed in the Dragon Ball universe, and it still wouldn't be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of their entire universe. That's how it works. In order to destroy a universe, you have to destroy a space-time continuum, and it has to be its own space-time continuum separate from another one. It can't be one that's inside of another one. Like, for instance, if you went to the Marvel universe and you destroyed the Microverse, which is a universe that exists within the greater Marvel universe, that would not be destroying an entire universe. That would be destroying a pocket dimension. Pocket dimensions happen all the time. In order to actually destroy a universe, you have to destroy one full greater space-time and all that exists within it. That's the fucking rule on destroying a universe. And given that Dragon Ball doesn't have that, they didn't do it. They can't do it. The only way for Dragon Ball to actually destroy a universe at this point in time would be to destroy all of the rest of the current universes that exist, including the entire timeline. They have to just crash it all to the fucking floor, everything. That would then make a character universal. Till then, they're just destroying large portions of space. So we're going to talk about them in this video as if they are just destroying very, very large portions of space. Nobody in Dragon Ball is universal. They've never had any universal feats. Calling something universal does not make it universal, just like calling the androids androids doesn't mean they're androids. They're still cyborgs. By the way, I'm aware that that's a translation error, but the point still stands. We all call it something that it's not. Universe 7 is not actually a universe. It's a universe in some off kind of way, kind of like how you say my family is my universe. It's not really a universe, but I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're putting down, Dragon Ball. First on the chopping block, we have Spawn from Young Tarts with Old Farts. Yes, that is an actual name of an actual movie that actually exists. You Dragon Ball fans thought I'd only be serving this delicious humble pie to Dragon Ball? Hell no. I'm serving this shit like it's my fucking job. It's Spawn's turn. People exaggerate the fuck out of Spawn's power, and we're gonna go into it just a little bit. Just like Dragon Ball, I have touched on this before, so I won't go, well, I said that, but I actually went into some pretty fucking hardcore detail just now. We will probably maybe not go into as hardcore detail with Spawn. I don't know. This shit ain't scripted. So right off the table, the vast majority of people who argue how strong Spawn is use one version of Spawn that was shown in one comic one time for one fight. Okay, that's when Spawn was given the power of the Mother of Existence. Why every time you talk about Spawn would you talk about this version? Like, you literally had the power up for like 10 minutes. It's like, no, that's not Spawn. It's weird. It's like every time you talk about Spider-Man in one of these videos, you talk about the fucking cosmic powered Spider-Man that gets the power cosmic from Galactus, because that's happened. It's just weird. You don't do that. So why would you do that for Spawn? Also, Mother of Existence isn't as strong as people say she is. Neither is God or Satan in the Spawn universe. Like, basically everyone is weaker in the Spawn universe than people say they are. It's really weird. But let's just talk about Spawn for now without all the crazy power-ups. No divine Spawn, no fucking Mother of Existence, but it's regular old classic Spawn, right? How strong is regular old classic Spawn? Well, if you ask people, they say that he could like blow up solar systems and shit, but none of this is ever supported or shown anywhere. Like, they take him and they compare him to characters he's never met or come into contact with at any point. They say he can blow up a planet because there was a demon who's the ruler of the 12th circle of hell that in an alternate future timeline that never actually happened, he destroys Earth by lighting the whole thing on fire. What does this have to do with Spawn? They've never met and this event never actually happened. This is stupid. They also compare him to this one angel that's arguably the first angel that ever existed, who is capable of causing a supernova. We don't see him cause a supernova. We don't know how he caused a supernova. We don't know if he has a specific power to like activate stars or some shit. Like, we have no idea how this happened. It was just stated that it happened at some point. And again, Spawn never met this person, ever. They've never come into contact. All of these power levels are by taking other characters, doing shit off screen, and then because they met a person who met a person who met a person who met a person who knew Spawn's cousin, that means Spawn's the same strength as them. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. And then a lot of the power levels that they grant Spawn is based on clear fucking hyperbole. So clearly hyperbole. They say he's over universe level because after he beat Malboja, he screamed, and his scream shook all of creation, including all of the fucking, 12, 13 levels of hell? I don't remember what it is in Spawn, but it's more than 9. And he just shook all of it, just all of existence. And then when you actually read the line, that's not at all what it says. It says that his war cry shook the timbers of creation and reverberated across worlds. It doesn't even mention hell in that statement, and that is so obviously hyperbole. At this point in the story, we haven't seen anything even close to that. Not even God and Satan in this universe are capable of doing that. Why are you assuming that this version of Spawn, who was only capable of defeating one demon lord, is already capable of destroying the entire universe or even shaking it with just his voice? Why are you assuming this? Why are you assuming that Malboja, who's just one demon lord of like 13, who him and God combined are not as strong as the Mother of Existence, who actually created and can destroy the universe? And this is the case across the board. People keep saying that hell is infinite in size, even though the comics at no point have ever said that hell is infinite. They use flowery, descriptive pseudo language and use the word infinite in it, but not to say this is how big hell is. At one point in the series, one of the characters described a patch of blackness so dense that no light could touch it when the universe was being created. It is then stated that a seed is planted in this patch of infinity, that seed being sin that eventually sprouted and became hell as we know it today. So my question to the people who follow this logic, none of that shit sounds like hyperbole or metaphor to you? You think that there was literally darkness that was literally so dense that light couldn't get in it? That doesn't make any sense, but okay. You think that sin was literally a seed that was literally planted in a literal patch that then sprouted like a fucking tree and made hell? That's what you think happened. You don't think that any of that's metaphor or exaggeration or hyperbole? None of it. It's all just super fucking literal? Really? I mean, to each their own, I guess, but I'm just not moving that way. I don't get it. Hell in the Spawn comics is even described as not an actual place, but more like a psychic realm where your mind goes after you die. Like, it's more like a dream that never ends than an actual physical place. It's described as this way multiple times. Like, I mean, hell, God and Satan, who are above Malbosia, who are above hell itself, who are above Spawn at this point, didn't even create the universe. The universe was created by their mother, the mother of existence. God and Satan in this universe are just her kids that were put in charge of Earth to just look over one planet. Because in this universe, there's an infinite number of planets that sprout the entire universe that is infinite in size. She has infinite children, and each of her children are over a different planet. God and Satan are her most disappointing children, so she put them both together to rule over one planet, and they couldn't get along and started fighting each other and shit. In this universe, they're equal in power, and they're both equally shitty at ruling over this planet. The best feat that God has in this universe is creating heaven, which is just a pocket dimension with 7 different levels where people who die only on Earth go to, because every other planet has a totally different heaven and hell to their individual planets. So like, where is like the crazy God level powers here that you guys are talking about? Like, where is this complex multiversal, infinite multiversal levels of power that people keep talking about when they talk about Spawn? Because I'm not fucking seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of taking shit way too literally, not understanding what hyperbole is, taking shit out of context, comparing him to people he's never fucking met. A lot of really weird shit. So when you look at what Spawn is actually capable of, like he can really do, I mean, he seems to be capable of some cosmic levels of power. I'm not gonna say he's like fucking city level. Like, he's got some shit he can do. I wouldn't be surprised if he could destroy a planet. I'm just saying that he's comparable to dudes who just blow planets up is not accurate. We haven't ever seen him do anything like that or even close. His speed has been straight up stated to be a little bit faster than a bullet. Like, we know that for sure. So I don't know where people are getting 63 billion times the speed of light, which is what it says on fucking Versus Battle Wiki. Don't go to Versus Battle Wiki. Every time I go there, I'm thinking, you know what, maybe it'll surprise me this time. Maybe we'll see something like cool, and you know, I'll be like, oh, I get it. No, it says 63 billion times the speed of light. Why does it say that? Hold up, wait a second. Like, I don't want you to spit your drink out, right? It says that because at one point, a character named Angela threatens to throw an angel into the sun, and she's not in the current galaxy. She's in a different galaxy. She says she's gonna throw this person into the sun, and they calculated the distance, and then they just assumed it would take about 5 minutes for the character to fly that far. Don't know where they're getting the fucking, like, time it would take from, because that's, like, it's never stated. They just took that statement. Again, super fucking literally. Like, this bitch was actually gonna toss this other bitch across the universe into the sun near Earth, and that's all they needed to determine not only she is 63 billion times the speed of light, but also every other character who's ever fought against her, including Spawn. Oh man, you guys make it so easy to make fun of you. No, he's not that fast. There's no evidence that he's all that strong. The main place that his power comes from is the fact, one, he increases in power the more souls he gets. That's an important factor. But also, he just has a very large assortment of hacks, and he's really difficult to kill. He's been torn apart, he's been blown holes through, he's been sliced and stabbed and chucked through buildings, all kinds of crazy stuff. He just doesn't die, he heals basically from anything. And he can rip out souls, he can control people's mind, he can fuck with time, he can do a lot of really cool, interesting, hacksy shit. So, if you took him and you chucked him in the tournament of power, how would he do? Not that great. As I said before, not only is he not that fast, not only is he not that strong, he's also not that skilled. Remember, one of the rules of the tournament is that you can't use weapons, and Spawn pretty much always uses weapons. He loves guns, he loves chains, he loves axes and swords. He very rarely fights in hand-to-hand combat. He can, I mean, he is a trained soldier. I'm not saying he can't fight in hand-to-hand, and he has done it in the past. He just doesn't do it very often, and there is zero evidence whatsoever that he would be anywhere near the skill of the characters in Dragon Ball. That is a literal martial arts series. The characters in Dragon Ball are some of the greatest martial artists in the entire universe. That's just not Spawn's whole thing. His power comes from his crazy level of over-the-top demon abilities, most of which he's not gonna be allowed to use. He can't rip out a dude's soul because you're not allowed to kill people. So you can't rip out souls, you can't like destroy their bodies or molecularly manipulate them like he would normally be able to do. He can't turn their fucking brain off. He can't drive them insane. Well, he might be able to drive them insane. It's possible he could drive them insane. I think his mind control might be able to work, and his time stop might be able to work. The problem is that when you're fighting in the tournament of power, you're fighting against 80 dudes. Like, they're not all fighting against you, but there's 80 dudes all in a fight, all fighting against each other, and I just don't think the time stop ability, which doesn't last very long, and he doesn't use it most of the time. Like, there's a reason he doesn't use it most of the time, because I don't think he's capable of using it most of the time. Now, I will give him this. Because Spawn's abilities are not specifically tied to ki, that means that the Dragon Ball characters will not be able to resist any of his Haxi abilities. Because the Hax resistance in Dragon Ball is specifically tied to resisting Hax abilities. That's why someone like Babidi, who has virtually no power level, is capable of controlling someone like Deborah. Because when it comes to magic and not ki, their Hax resistance is completely negated. Vegeta was able to resist Babidi because Babidi's mind control specifically attacked the darkness in a person's heart, and Vegeta did not have the darkness in his heart anymore in order to allow him to be controlled. Therefore, he could resist the control. This is why Babidi didn't even attempt to try and control Goku, who was the stronger fighter, because he had no evil in his heart. Therefore, it wouldn't have worked anyway, so he attacked Vegeta, but he miscalculated because Vegeta was no longer the evil person that he used to be. Given that pretty much all of Spawn's hacks are more along the lines of magic and are not ki, that means that there's going to be no resistance to them at all. They also don't have any rules tied to them like Babidi did with the whole I control the darkness in your heart thing. He can just fucking do it to you. So his hacks should work against Dragon Ball characters. I just don't think it'll be enough. Because in order to lose, all that has to happen is you have to be kicked out of the fucking ring. And any character with a single hit would launch him way farther than the width of that ring. I don't even think he could stop himself from fucking flying that way. That's another thing. I didn't say that earlier. Another rule of the Tournament of Power is that you can't fucking fly. They don't let you fly, or at least you can't fly via ki or your powers. So all these fights are going to be on the ground. This means that Spawn can't fly around, zoom in, or anything like that. They're all grounded. If he goes against someone even as weak as Krillin, and Krillin kicks him hard enough, he's flying out of the fucking ring. He won't be able to stop it. He's not physically strong enough to. In the Spawn universe, it's a very impressive feat for characters to blow up planets and solar system shit. Only the most powerful of angels and demons can do that. In Dragon Ball, like, pretty much every single person on Universe 7's team can very easily blow up a solar system. Their physical hits are way stronger than anything we've ever seen Spawn do without a massive, massive power-up. So, yeah, the one thing he's got going for him is his hacks, but his speed, his strength, and his lack of fighting prowess basically guarantees he's gonna get knocked out of the fucking ring and not get very far. It will help a little bit that any damage he sustains, he will very, very rapidly heal in a way that none of the other Dragon Ball characters will, but that'll only go so far, especially since they don't actually have to kill him or break anything. They just have to get him out of the ring, which would be super, super easy. In fact, many of these dudes are so fast, they could probably get him out of the ring before he can even activate the fucking time stop powers. Look, I didn't pick these selections, okay? I put a vote on the channel, and you motherfuckers voted for this. Y'all wanted Spawn, here's Spawn, okay? Don't get mad at me. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, join the membership, you get exclusive access to videos that nobody else gets. Mostly cut together debates and other things like this that happen within the stream against me, where I go against way overly aggressive scalers.
What do you guys like think that scales? Because like I could say like hypothetically like you could have infinite 3D possibilities.
I think for Doctor Who it would inherently be like 4D. He's a time lord.
Dimensionality is a bullshit concept made up by scalers. It's not real.
Hey, okay, look, that's not my debate. You can debate that shit with someone else.
Yeah, it's not a thing. Y'all just made that shit up. It's not a
Wait,
thing.
You don't think dimensional axes exist?
No, dimensionality doesn't exist as you describe it.
Okay. Do you not think spatial directions exist? Like
no, dimensionality as scalers describe it in fictional versus debates does not exist in the way you describe it. You take the word dimensionality, but you don't describe it in any way that it actually works in theoretical physics. You just made up a bunch of bullshit. If you're into that kind of stuff, go join that membership. And if you check the pinned comment, you will find a link to the Discord as well as my second channel. The Discord, you can actually join those debates and possibly get a video of yourself that the members can watch. And the second channel has got more videos and stuff, things that aren't survival challenges. Anything I feel like making that I just want to put over there, that's what goes over there. Okay, I'm wasting up for your time. Let's get back to the video. Next up on the list, we have Bayonetta. Oh, fuck. I don't want to do Bayonetta. It's so convoluted and confusing and nothing makes sense. Why did y'all vote for this? There were 10 options. Why did I put it on the list? Fuck this. Future Rouga can deal with this. Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit what he's got going on. He's dealing with it. I'm not doing it. I refuse. Believe it or not, Present Rouga, we in the future have more important things to worry about than your stupid little fucking YouTube channel. We have real problems, like where am I going to get clean drinking water today? Or which of the blood god worshipping cannibal cults are going to try and eat me? Yeah, we have those now. They fucking suck. Whatever. Let's get this over with. What do we got today? Bayonetta? Oh, fuck you. Okay, let's do it. This will be fun. What is she? Attack potency, low complex multiversal. Of course she's fucking multiversal. Everybody's fucking multiversal. Fought and defeated Singularity and Singularity Balance, quickly kicking him so hard, blah blah blah. Okay, it's all based on this dude's Singularity. So we go over to Singularity, right? Here he is. Very gay. Alright, scroll down. What do we see? United with the chaotic energies of the entire multiverse. What? Hold up. A form that Singularity has assumed to do battle using the sum of the energy absorbed from the systemic destruction of parallel worlds within the multiverse. Within the multiverse. So, not the entire multiverse. You're a fucking liar. Versus BattleWiki. To increase his attack power to the limit. Swollen beyond recognition with the power of the world of chaos, he resembles something like a writhing mountain. Ooh, very scary. Then it goes on to say, with the destructive power granted by this enormous body, he can level entire cities effortlessly. So, let me get something straight. They took the whole, he gets energy from the destruction of parallel worlds within the multiverse, right? And they took that and decided to jump through a bunch of hoops with it and just call it multiversal, even though all it is him taking energy from parallel worlds. But they completely ignored the literal measurement of destroying cities effortlessly. Like, this is an actual measurement. This is not an actual measurement. What's the deal? Versus BattleWiki, like, you just gonna ignore this part? Seems kind of important. Okay, whatever. So let's go on. Let's see if it gets any better. I don't think it will. All right, the world of chaos in which time reflects infinitely. I don't know why they say that as if that's something that's important. That doesn't mean anything. That's completely, let me see, does it say anything more interesting? Nope. In a universe of light and dark, where time reflects infinitely. Okay, that means absolutely nothing to me. His destabilization reached, I can't pronounce that, the void that encompasses all worlds, like how Earth is enveloped by the universe. Okay, so this is something you're going to see a lot in Bayonetta, where nothing they say makes sense. Like, nothing adds up. The multiverse and the cosmology of the universe does not make any sense. The villain's plans don't make any sense. They just don't really mean anything. It's just a bunch of words thrown out. Like, let's click on this. Let's just see what it says, right? Let's go about it, okay? So we go down here, see what this shit says. Okay, this is the artist and the director of the game. I imagine the bottom of the sea as a space encompassing multiple parallel worlds, like the universe around the Earth. Can anyone tell me what the fuck that means? Because I have no idea. Bits and pieces of the world's memories pile up like sand until they crystallize into floating islands. The magic drifts, gathers, and wanders like sea creatures, which is basically like the loading screens of the Bayonetta games. In fact, this is the director now, in fact, whatever the fuck this is full of realization of the world in the loading screens where players practice their moves. You could say that the loading screens are traveling the multiverse through this bullshit word I can't pronounce. Okay, cool. So what I get from that is that this is basically the space between all of the different universes. Each of these islands or the universes are like encompassed inside of them. That seems like what they're kind of trying to say. If his destabilization reached this place, how is that multiversal? That just means that whatever this destabilization was, which again, not very clear on what that even is, it just left whatever universe he was in and went into this place between universes. Again, not multiversal. This is something that exists in a lot of different fictions. I mean, fuck, Wolverine in the Marvel universe has left his universe and gone into a place between universes. A lot of characters have. It's not a multiversal feat. Then it goes on to say that he gets another power-up, and it's superior to its previous form, an evolved form Singularity Chaos, which allows him more perfect control of the chaos energy inside him. That's cool. Then there's an even more powerful form, the perfected form of Singularity, making it superior to its previous incarnations. In this form, he has become the multiverse. Has he though? Let's look and find out, okay? The perfect form of Singularity attained by purging himself of all impurities and unnecessary information to become one with the chaotic energies of the multiverse. So one with the chaotic energies of the multiverse, not the multiverse. Having become what could be considered the universe itself. So it directly states that he could become the universe itself, not the multiverse. So it absolutely just goes against everything said on versus BattleWiki, as usual. He has gained control over reality, making opposition meaningless, in addition to replicating and manipulating portions of the worlds he has conquered. he can also access the memories of the Archeves of those worlds and create projections with comparable power. Now, the Archeves are actually very important to this conversation. So what an Archeve is in Bayonetta is basically each universe has its own Archeve and Archatom. And these are two special individuals that have guided the direction that universe's history have gone to such a degree that they become Archeves and Archatoms. If you kill an Archeve and an Archatom, the universe will not be able to sustain itself and it will collapse. Bayonetta is the Archeve in basically all of the universes, not all of them. There's a couple where she's not, but most of them, Bayonetta is the Archeve. So you would think, okay, well, killing her destroys the universe. That should make her universal because she's sustaining it. No. The Archeve and Archatom together sustain the universe, and killing them will destroy it. The Archatom in Bayonetta's universe is Rouga. Rouga is mostly a normal dude. Like, he's not normal, he's definitely enhanced, but there's nothing about his character or about his power level that puts him on some higher plane of existence or great power. He's always shown to be weaker than basically everybody else. Even people who Bayonetta very easily swats aside, he's just kind of a dude. We don't really know how the whole concept of the Archeve and the Archatom actually work within the universe, but it's not that their power props it up. The universe just kind of chooses two people who have made a massive difference within that universe to be the Archeve and Archatom. Like, they don't even explain why the Archeve and Archatom's deaths would even affect the universe in any given way. The way that Singularity actually destroys the universes is by hopping into them and killing the Archeves and Archatoms, and then they collapse, and the leftover energies, the chaotic energies that leave from the collapse of these universes, he then absorbs. When he transforms into this giant dude, wherever he is, this guy, the Singularity Chaos, this is after he's already absorbed a ton of different universes. And the only description that we get is that he destroys fucking cities. He then absorbs quite a bit more, and then he turns into the quote-unquote perfect version of this character and the most powerful version, but even this version has not destroyed a single universe with his own power. He's just killed the Eves and the Atoms. That's all he had to do. And all the way to the end of the game, he never destroys a single universe. He doesn't do anything all that impressive. Nothing about the cosmology of Bayonetta makes sense. Nothing about the rules or the laws of it makes sense. And the actual destructive power of its characters are very, very unimpressive. Let me give you an example about how it doesn't make sense, right? Let's go over to the Bayonetta wiki, and we're going to go to Singularity's page. Again, still looks very gay. And it will give us a short description of what his actual plan is. Singularity desires to annihilate the multiverse and fuse it into the native reality, the Alphaverse, in order to gain enough power to merge with the world of chaos and potentially wipe out the trinity of realities in an instant. If you've ever played this game, you know that none of this shit makes any fucking sense. For one, the multiverse is the trinity of realities. That is the multiverse within the Bayonetta universe. In Bayonetta 1, all we knew about was the trinity of realities of three universes. Then in later Bayonetta games, they revealed that places like the world of chaos are actually many different universes that are all inside making that, and that was considered like its own. Like, they call it just the world of chaos, just a universe, but it has like multiple universes inside of it, so I guess it's technically a multiverse, but we don't know how many universes are inside it. Doesn't matter. Point is, how is Singularity going to annihilate the multiverse and fuse it into his native reality, the Alphaverse, in order to gain enough power to merge with the world of chaos, which is just the multiverse? Like I said, the entirety of the Bayonetta universe is just the Trinity of Realities. That's everything. That's all that exists. So what multiverse of that Trinity of Realities, one of the Trinity is the world of chaos. So what multiverse is he fusing with to get the power to then merge with the world of chaos, which, by the way, merge is just another word for fuse. So he's fusing with some multiverse somewhere to then gain the power to fuse with the world of chaos, which is a part of the same multiverse, to then potentially wipe out the Trinity of Realities in an instant, which is also just a part of the world of chaos and the multiverse he's already fused. If he, as this wiki says, merges with the world of chaos, that means 1/3 of the multiverse he's already fused with. So there wouldn't be a Trinity of Realities. There'd only be two left because he's fused with one. So if he's destroying the Trinity of Realities, he's destroying himself as well. And just to be clear, this wiki is not giving a poor description of what is told to you in the game. This is what is told to you in the game, and it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It is batshit how the cosmology of this universe works. And this is across the board in all three games. Nothing makes sense. So last thing I'm going to show you is a conversation that Bayonetta has with one of her close friends. So this is a character that basically in the game of Bayonetta is used as an exposition machine to just explain shit to Bayonetta so that she understands things. Doesn't do a particularly good job because everything's still very confusing even after he explains it, but let's see what he says. He says, within the Trinity of Realities, the world of chaos is actually made up of countless universes, all stacked up together. If someone's wiping those universes out one by one, nah, wiping out doesn't quite explain it. They're breaking the multiverse down and trying to fuse it together. Okay, so this does tell you basically the same thing the wiki does, that Singularity is trying to fuse these universes together. But it also says that he's breaking them down one by one. And we know how he's breaking them down by killing Bayonettas. So if we take all of this information and just mash it together and put it all in our brains, all forceful like, basically, Bayonetta is low complex multiversal on here. Because she, with the help of 2 other people, by the way, defeated Singularity, who went around the multiverse and killed versions of Bayonetta, who were just more or less exact copies of the main Bayonetta, who defeats Singularity. And by killing her in those other universes, chaotic energy was released, and then they get absorbed into Singularity, who intended on using that energy to fuse all the universes together into one big universe, which he didn't actually do. Like, he doesn't fully destroy any part of the multiverse. He doesn't fully destroy the world of chaos, or, well, that's all really he gets, even though the story talks about the multiverse as if it's somehow separate from the world of chaos. But then it also talks about the multiverse in the world of, again, confusing. So a guy who went around killing a bunch of other Bayonettas, she then killed him. That's why she's complex multiversal, because she killed him with help, despite the fact that the most we ever see this dude do is destroy like big buildings and shit. It seems like the only place that they're actually getting their information from is the fact that he's absorbing a lot of energy, like a lot of chaotic energy from these different universes, and they're assuming that because he absorbed energy from a universe that broke down and was destroyed, he now has universal level of power. They're not even questioning the possibility that all of the energy they're absorbing is not enough to destroy an entire universe, like with that level of energy, because he doesn't ever. He never. It's stupid. It's so dumb. I'm done with it. It's a cool game. I like the game. Fun game, fun combat. Story's nonsense. The cosmology is nonsense. And as always, Versus Battle Wiki is in fact nonsense. Now that's it. I'm done. Get away from me. Go back to the other asshole and stop bothering me. Okay, the moon fucking exploded last week. Now we gotta worry about tides and shit. There you go. That's all done, hopefully. I don't know what Future Rouga said. I'm not there. But I'm assuming he gave you the information that you need and you now understand where I'm coming from. It's super convoluted, super confusing. And a lot of people take these whamby-pamby fucking statements and then launch them to like the most ridiculous they can be, when that's really not the case. Like when you look at how they destroy the universe and how these different things happen, it's not really them doing it. It's like this chain reaction effect that's going on based on doing something that isn't nearly as impressive as actually destroying the universe. In fact, in the entirety of the Bayonetta verse, there has not been a single character who has destroyed a universe or a solar system or a planet or even a country with their own physical power. Just them using their might to destroy it. There's always some kind of like backdoor, wishy-washy way of like doing this thing, which then makes this domino fall and hit this domino, and then eventually it leads to fucking destruction of a lot of shit. In terms of just raw power, Bayonetta is not even as strong as Spawn. And I mean, you guys know what I think about the strength of Spawn. However, she is above Spawn in this video because despite her not being as strong, she's a lot faster. She's got the witch time, which is a time-stopping power that she can use way more often than Spawn does. And because it's not based on ki, there's nothing the Dragon Ball characters can do to resist it like they did with Hit's time-stopping power. And the fact that she is significantly faster than a character like Spawn and able to compete with the speed of a lot of Dragon Ball characters, she will possibly get a lot farther. However, her lack of physical strength and might is so far below any of the DBZ characters that it's arguable that even with her speed and even with her time stop abilities, that she'll be able to hit them hard enough to actually put them out of the fucking arena. I mean, this challenge is 80 fucking combatants. She'll have to freeze time bare minimum of 80 times, and enough for her to move characters that are significantly more powerful than her outside of the, like, that would be funny if she could just stop time and then one by one take them all and just like walk them out of the ring and then just like start time back up. But it's completely unfair to give her credit for something like that because she doesn't do anything like that in her own series. She freezes time. Like, if she was capable of doing that in her own series, then she could freeze time, then just kill everybody in the room, and that's it. But she never does that. Her freezing freezing time allows her to get some extra hits in, and that's it. So I don't think you could just count like, oh, she's light speed, she could freeze time, even if it's only for a split second, she could get everybody out of the arena. I mean, wouldn't you assume that when you're playing the game, using witch time fighting against other enemies, that you are moving at that light speed at basically all times? So the witch time is like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second to just like let you do a couple hits and that's it. Why would I assume that she could freeze all of time and get them all out of the arena? I just don't think it's gonna work. She's not physically strong enough to actually deal with any of these characters, even the absolute weakest ones here. It's just not happening. And you have to do some absolutely massive mental gymnastics and ignore very large portions of the story of Bayonetta in order to say otherwise. So yeah, nah, she fucking loses. Next up on the list, we have Doomguy. From what fucking series do you think he's from? Come on. And look, guys, I realize that I'm coming off as a bit of a negative Nancy in this video. Like, it sounds like I'm just shitting on all of these series. I want to be very clear. I am not shitting on any of these series. I completely disagree with the general thought process of how powerful these series are. But that doesn't mean I'm shitting on any of them. I love Dragon Ball Z. I'm not a fan of Super. I really like Spawn, and I really like Bayonetta, even though I think the story is fucking nonsense. Like, the actual game is really, really fun. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm just bashing all of these series. I like all of them. And I'm gonna prove it right now while talking about Doom, because everybody knows that I love Doom. If you've been on this channel for more than 5 fucking seconds, you know that I love Doom. And I'm kind of about to shit on it as well, because I don't think Doomguy's gonna do as well as people think he will. While it is true that Doomguy has a large, ridiculously over-the-top assortment of crazy powers, right? Like, he's as strong as he wants to be, he's as fast as he wants to be. He is absolute in every conceivable way. In every timeline of every universe, he will succeed in his goals, because as long as he wills it, it will come to fruition. It's just like, how the fuck can anyone deal with this? He would go in, he would just slaughter everybody out of the fucking arena, like, before they can even react. It's all, oh, I don't buy that. While it is true that Doomguy is as fast and as strong as he needs to be, that doesn't necessarily mean that he completely dwarfs the power of every single person he comes into contact with. We don't ever see him at any point in the series just completely blitz fucking Davith and immediately overcome. We don't see him do that for the Cyber Demon, we don't see him do that for literally anyone. I don't really see him just coming in and instantly blitzing and killing everybody immediately. Oh, the whole Tournament of Power, I'm just gonna fucking immediately kill Xeno. Oh, actually, that's probably, character-wise, that's probably what he would do. If Xeno was threatening all the universes and set up this Tournament of Power, I honestly think that Doomguy would just bypass the tournament, not even give a shit about it, and just go directly for Xeno. Like, if there's a character out there that is threatening to destroy whole universes, yeah, Doomguy's just gonna kill that guy and then problem solved, no tournament necessary. But let's just for a second say that he does join the tournament or whatever. I don't think that he's just gonna completely overcome everybody. I think he's gonna fight and it's gonna be relatively, you know, even. He's not blitzing people. I think that he's gonna be comparable to all the people who fight here. Also, if that's the case, it's way more interesting for this list. But also, a major weakness that Doomguy's gonna have here is the fact that he's not allowed to bring any weapons. So, no guns or swords or fucking bladed throwable shields or any of the shit that he's usually used to using due to him being a soldier and a warrior. He's gonna have to use hand-to-hand combat. And while he knows how to do hand-to-hand combat, and we see him do hand-to-hand combat, I mean, he defeated Champion, the strongest of all Titans, with his bare fists and no armor. That clearly shows the dude knows how to fight. I think it's a massive stretch to say that he's a better martial artist than someone like Goku or Jiren or even fucking Frieza, that apparently barely has any training according to Super, even though he very clearly does, because we see him using martial arts techniques even back on Nat. Whatever, it's fine. The point is that characters in the Dragon Ball universe are so unbelievably ridiculously skilled when it comes to martial arts that they are at the peak of their whole universe and can compete with literally trillions upon quadrillions or however many people exist within it. Like, they're the best of the best. And while Doomguy is the most powerful and he could slaughter through tons and tons of people, he doesn't fucking do it with martial arts skills. When it comes to his fighting ability, all we ever see him do is punch dudes really, really fucking hard. He is definitely trained in combat due to him being a Marine and Marines being trained in combat, but that's it. To call him a master martial artist at the peak of the entire multiverse is a massive stretch. That means that Doomguy is probably going to be on the back foot of a lot of these fights. And before you say like, oh, well, Doomguy can't be on the back foot, like he's so, yes, he can. We've seen it happen before. Yes, it is among his powers that in all of the timelines that exist where all possibilities are possible, the only thing that is inevitable is Doomguy. Because Doomguy wills himself to accomplish a goal, and that goal will be accomplished as long as he wills it to be true. However, that generally is shown to be in the long term, not necessarily the short term. Like, it's not like he never has any setbacks. He wills that Davith will die, so Davith dies. He wills that the Khan Maker will be overthrown and he will kill her. So when she looks into the infinite timelines to find out what actions she can take to avoid her death, she can't see one. In every single timeline she dies, which should not be possible when infinite timelines means infinite possibilities. However, despite Doomguy having this power, he was not able to avoid, say, Samuel Hayden from betraying him and launching his ass into hell before the invasion of Earth. Doomguy had no idea this was going to happen, and Samuel Hayden was able to get the better of him. So, while it's true that his will does become law, it seems to be in the long term. In the long term, Doomguy was going to stop the demonic invasion. In the long term, Doomguy was going to save humanity. In the long term, he was going to beat Davith. But bad things can still happen, and people can still take actions and put obstacles up in front of that goal that Doomguy wants to accomplish in order to slow that goal down. This makes me believe 100% that Doomguy can actually lose the tournament if he's fighting against enough skilled martial artists that can just knock him out of the fucking ring. If that's all they have to do is knock him out of the ring and not just outright kill him, like, they had to kill him, they can't win. But if all they have to do is knock him out of bounds, yeah, they can do that. What, do you think that Doomguy can't be knocked out of fucking bounds? Based on what? In Doom 2016, he's like a god level being at this point. He fights the Cyber Demon, the Cyber Demon lifts his ass up and chucks him across the room. Right there, we see him get knocked back like 40 fucking feet. Why would you think it's not possible for him to be knocked out of a ring? Many of the characters in Dragon Ball, like Krillin and Goku, have years and years and years and years of experience fighting in tournaments just like this, where the whole goal is to knock people out of rings. We see someone like Krillin, who is nowhere near the strength of Goku, capable of, just due to his experience in tournaments, be able to nearly knock Goku, a significantly more powerful being, out of the ring. Why do you think that Goku and Jiren and all these other characters who are used to fighting in tournaments not be able to knock Doomguy out? Especially considering that Doomguy has never done anything like this and has no skill in this particular category. His skill is with killing people with really, really big, awesome weapons. It's not martial arts tournaments. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't think that Doomguy will be a lot of help in the tournament. Like, with Spawn and Bayonetta, I didn't talk about what would happen if they were on different teams because I don't think it would matter. I didn't think that they would be a lot of help to anyone on those teams. They could be by themselves against all the teams, or you could put them on any team, and I don't think they would have been able to sway it one way or the other. I do think that Doomguy would be useful enough that you could put him on different teams, and teams that were probably knocked out earlier on would now survive significantly longer because you put a titan like Doomguy on their team. I do think he could sway teams one way or another depending on which one. Like, if you put him on Jiren's team, I think it's very unlikely that Universe 7 would have won because you just put another massive player on the opposite team that they have to deal with now. So it will really heavily depend on what team you put Doomguy on to how useful he will be or whether or not he would be able to win. But I don't think you could just throw him in the tournament by himself against all 80 dudes and he'll win. I don't see that happening at all. And I don't think he's washing the entire tournament. His just general level of power and combat skill is way too high for that to be the case. But his lack of experience and skill at specifically this type of fighting and exactly what they're doing here is going to hold him back from being like an MVP of the entire match. Like, he's not going to be a Jiren-like character where you have to have Goku and Vegeta and Frieza all teaming up to fight against this one dude because he's just so amazingly awesome at doing this particular thing. Like, you can have two combatants, right? And you take those two combatants and you make them fight to the death 10 times. And out of those 10 times, one dude wins 9 out of the 10 I know if he won once, it would be over, okay? Just don't worry about it. It's theoretical, motherfucker. One dude would win 9 out of the 10 times against the other dude. Okay, now you take those same two dudes and you alter the rules slightly. Now they're in a little small arena and they have to wrestle each other and try and push the other one out of the ring. And while one guy was able to kill the other guy 9 times because maybe he's a professional assassin or soldier or something, the other guy is an Olympic wrestler. And now all of a sudden, the other guy wins 10 out of 10 times because now you're dealing with something that he is specifically skilled and trained at that the other guy isn't. That's kind of how this works. If you take Doomguy and you throw him into Dragon Ball Super just as a whole, and you throw him into the Tournament of Power arc, he's going to completely ignore the Tournament of Power. He's He's not going to worry about it. He's not going to follow rules or care about them in any way. He's going to go straight for Xeno. He's going to kill Xeno. He's going to kill the angels who try to stop him from killing Xeno. He's going to kill characters like Frieza and the Gods of Destruction and anybody who is a danger to regular mortals or innocent people. And there's really nothing the Dragon Ball universe can do about it. But if we are putting him in the tournament and the goal is to fight in this tournament, that's a completely different scenario. We don't even have any genuine evidence of him fighting on a team and strategizing with other people in order to overcome some great challenge. That in of itself is a skill that is required for a tournament like this. All the other best characters in this arc, the ones that get the farthest in the tournaments, are genius battle tacticians. I know Goku's kind of a dumbass, but he is a genius when it comes to fighting, and there's actually some pretty clever moments in here where the different characters team up and strategize against other characters to overcome. There's really no evidence Doomguy can do that with another person. 1v1 against Goku, he's probably gonna win, even if it is just knocking him out of the arena. Probably, not necessarily. But Doomguy on a team with 9 other people that he doesn't know how to strategize with because he's never done it before, against an entire other team of 10 people who do know how to work together and strategize, yeah, he may actually not win. And I know that since he was in the military and he fought with the Sentinels, there's definitely reason to believe that he's fought on teams before, like he's been on a side of a military engagement, had to fight against others, but that's still not really the same thing as this, where there's a bunch of dudes strategizing in a sort of King of the Hill type martial arts tournament. It's still a very different skill. That's my whole point. He's very, very powerful, more powerful than any of these characters, but he lacks a specific skill that is required for this particular challenge, if that makes any sense at all. Last up, but certainly not least, we have Asura from Asura's Wrath. This one is just as surprising to me as it is for you. I was not expecting this motherfucker to be the last one on the list, but the more I thought about it and I thought about the things he can do and the plot of the game, I came to the realization that, yeah, he would actually do really, really well here. I'm not saying that he's stronger than Doomguy, and I'm not saying that he's stronger than Goku or Jiren or any of the other characters in Dragon Ball Super, but he will be, and he will be relatively quickly. There are quite a few things that makes me believe this. One, the fact that Asura has no limits on his stamina. At one point in the series, he climbs up this giant mountain to get from one universe to another universe, like the underworld to the living world, and it takes him like 10,000 years, I think is what it was, and he did it without getting tired or taking any breaks. In fact, he never stops throughout the entire course of this game, and he literally kills like every god, all in this one game, no breaks. It's crazy, crazy long. He also has a massive benefit in the fact that his power is not reliant on any kind of source. Every single Dragon Ball character in the tournament's power is reliant on ki. Once their ki runs low or runs out, they don't have any power anymore, they're done. There's a limit to how long they can fight and what moves they can do. If they overextend themselves, they can actually run out of ki and they can't fucking fight anymore. This is not an issue that Asura's gonna have. Asura doesn't have to be careful at all and can fight at 120% the entire fight, which is something nobody else can do. Also, unlike Doomguy, who's more powerful than the Dragon Ball characters, but is really out of his element here, Asura's not. He is a master martial artist, the greatest in his entire universe, better than all of the gods. He takes them all on and beats them all without as much struggle as you would expect. Like, the dude is super, super skilled at fighting, and I think that it would not be that much of a stretch to say that he is easily comparable to characters like Goku and the other top tiers of this universe in terms of actual martial arts prowess. He is super skilled. But the main reason why I actually think he's going to do better than anybody else on this list, and possibly even win the entire tournament, is because the speed of which he can increase his power is greater than anyone else on this list, as well as any of the Dragon Ball characters. Like, it's way better. This probably sounds pretty blasphemous to Dragon Ball fans, given that Goku and Vegeta and all these characters' whole thing is increasing in power at incredibly fast speeds, but they really don't have anything on Asura's ability to increase power. At the beginning of Asura's Wrath, he's weak enough that a dozen or so enhanced soldiers are capable of harming him. Guns are capable of harming him. People with swords are capable of harming him. At this point of the game, he's capable of destroying like buildings and shit. It's really not all that impressive. The game takes place over the course of like a day or so, and by the end of the game, he's blowing up stars and punching so hard that he's breaking holes in reality. Anyone who says that characters like Goku increase in strength faster than that, I feel like they haven't been paying attention. They don't really know what they're talking about. I mean, this would be like if Goku during episode 1 of the series, not Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball, when he fell off of a cliff cliff and hit his head and forgot all of his memories because, you know, him falling and hitting his head was capable of damaging him at that time. Kind of like at the beginning Asura, where he is actually capable of being hurt by bullets, even though Goku as a child technically couldn't be hurt by bullets, but I think you can argue as a baby he could. I don't know, it's that one's iffy. So imagine Goku was that level of power, like kid or baby Goku, and then over the course of one day, he became as strong as Cell Saga Goku. That's what Asura does in this game. There is no comparison to be made in the power level increases that Asura can get compared to Goku. Now later on in the series, Goku does get some major power-ups that are larger than that, but I would say that that's more like exponential growth, where it's like if a character is capable of destroying a building and then in one day is capable of destroying a city block, that's a lot more difficult than a character who's capable of destroying a planet that can then destroy a star in a day. Even though percentage-wise it's a way bigger power increase, these larger, more powerful characters can generally increase their power a lot faster than they can when they are of like very low power levels. Asura goes from building to fucking star in like a single day. It is crazy how fast it is. I think if you put Asura in the Tournament of Power, he will go in not as the weakest character starting off. There are weaker characters in the Tournament of Power than he is. He will be skilled and strong enough to survive, but by the end of that first match, he'll go from being a character who can destroy stars and punch holes in reality to being like a galaxy buster. Then by match 2, he'll be a fucking universe buster. His power has no real limitations to it. It just keeps increasing at ridiculously fast speeds. And given how characters like Goku and Vegeta and all of these other characters fight, where they don't go full out at the very start of the fight, they'll be giving Asura the opportunity to actually gain the power that he'll need to overcome them without even really realizing it. I don't think there's a single character in the Tournament of Power that goes all out right from the start. Not Android 17, not Frieza, not Vegeta or Goku or Jiren or Topo. I'm thinking his name, Topo. The like dude with the mustache. Anyway, none of them go full power. They all start off kind of weaker and then gradually build up to the point they're super powerful. Asura generally goes full out right out the gate, and he just continuously gets stronger and stronger and stronger as he fights. So yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he's going to do unbelievably well here. Like insanely well. He'll be the only character capable of fighting 100% from the very beginning. He's going to increase in power a lot faster than anybody else does. He has 6 fucking arms that he can regrow. That's a pretty big advantage considering he's fighting dudes that have 2 arms. And you can say like, oh, but they're really fast with their punching and it's basically like having more than 2 arms. No, it's not. Because no matter what, they can only hit or block 2 attacks. Asura can hit or block 6 different attacks at the same time. Regardless of speed, that's the fact. That means that Asura can be 1/3 the speed of a Dragon Ball character and still be able to compete with all of their attacks because he has way more options to block and strike. That's a pretty important factor when you think about it. There's also a fact that's not really relevant to the challenge itself, because the challenge is the Tournament of Power, not like can you survive the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. But Asura can actually come back from the dead and resist things like existence erasure just by his pure rage. Like his rage can bring him back and make sure that he still exists. As long as he has that rage and it exists, so will he. This means that even if he loses the tournament and Xeno decides to erase him, he'll still beat, like it won't work. He'll erase him temporarily and then Asura will just come back into reality and be fine. And it's just a matter of time before Asura eventually surpasses Xeno with his just infinitely increasing strength at a significantly faster rate than anybody else in Dragon Ball. Oh, also last thing, some people might say that I'm wrong about him being able to destroy stars, and in fact he can destroy way more than galaxies by the end of the game. That might be true because he does get a lot stronger after the whole star destroying feat, but it's not true based on all the galaxies that we see floating around Chakravartin. Those galaxies are clearly smaller than the star, and you could say, well, the star is just bigger than galaxies, but that would also make the planet that the entire game takes place on with regular mortal human people also bigger than those galaxies, because we see Asura grow to the size of that planet and then destroy the star and then go by the galaxies where he's bigger than the galaxies, and in all that time we never saw him grow anymore. So either the galaxies are super small, or the star, the planet, all the mortal human beings, Chakravartin, Asura himself, all of these things are larger than a galaxy and have been since the beginning of the game. I would say it's probably more likely that just those galaxies were smaller, not that literally everything else was bigger. That doesn't make sense to me. The only reason why I'm even addressing this is because I've had people say this where, no, he can destroy galaxies because of all the galaxies floating around Chakravartin. Those are smaller galaxies. They're not the normal sized. Look, if I showed you a picture of a horse, and next to that horse, there were like 8 people standing next to it, right? And they were towering over the horse. Would you look at that picture and be like, holy shit, those people are fucking huge? Or would you come to the common sense that's like, maybe that's a smaller horse? It's probably a smaller horse. Not everything else is gigantic, right? So it makes sense the galaxy's smaller, not the star and Chakravartin and the planet and all of the humans. They're not all galaxy fucking sized, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, kind of a tangent, kind of not. But I've heard that argument before, and I find it wrong. Just super wrong. I'm not even gonna check, but I'm sure they got that shit from Versus Battle Wiki again. Just seems like every bad idea in existence comes from Versus Battle Wiki. But that's gonna be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, you join the membership, you get exclusive access to videos that nobody else can get. Isn't that cool? And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?